Today I've been testing out the all-new TSi drivers from Titleist. Now I've come through to their National Fitting Centre here at Craigielaw Golf Club to try and give you a good idea of what's on offer with both of these new drivers along with the new Fairways. Try and let you know which one might be the best fit for your game, the differences between the two, the technology that's packed in here, the kind of numbers I was getting, the performance I was seeing, and also let you know how these new drivers compare with the TS3 driver that's being replaced. First off though, before I run into all of that, if you're new to our YouTube channel, please hit the subscribe button below, give us a thumbs up if you enjoy this video, and if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you. First off, let me talk you through the design and technology packed into these driver heads. Now, these are replacing the TS2 and TS3 drivers from about 2 years ago, and safe to say that those drivers were a really big step up from Titleist, especially when compared with the 917 drivers that they replaced. They just offered more ball speeds, greater distance, greater forgiveness, just better all-round performance, really a big step up. And Titleist say you can expect the same kind of step up with TSi. More ball speed, greater forgiveness, better sound and feel, better launch conditions. So, promising a lot with these drivers, but how have they been able to achieve that? Well, the first thing you'll probably notice with these drivers is the new face design. As you can see here, it's quite a quirky looking face with a cool wee pattern design on it, but it says ATI down the bottom. Now, what does that mean? Well, Titleist have used a material called ATI 425. Now, this is a special titanium produced by, let me get this right, Allegheny Teledyne Incorporated. Now, this material, it's going to, they say it's stronger, has a higher elasticity than something like traditional 6.4 titanium, the kind of industry standard, and they say that that's allowed them to increase the level of ball speed you're going to get from this face design, and it's also going to offer more consistent ball speeds across the face and more consistent spin rates. Now, this material, it's something we've not really seen in golf before. I think it's a first. It's been used in this face. It's something that has previously been used in military applications, stuff like tanks, helicopter, rotor blades, ballistics, So it's not really something we've seen in golf before, but Titleist are promising a lot of ball speed thanks to this new face design. To help increase speed even further, we have a 15% reduction in drag. So they've refined the shape of these drivers to help try and give you some more club head speed, but also the shaping is one of the big appeals with these drivers. The TSi 3 is such a classic look to it. It's got that pear shape, but it's a wee bit more round towards the toe when compared with the TS3, and it just looks like a proper classic Titleist driver. It looks sensational, one of my favourite things about it. And then with the TSi 2, it's got a more of a stretched back, elongated shape, a little bit more, I would say, triangular, sort of stretched out towards the back. But thankfully, they've also rounded off the toe of this golf club. That was probably one of my only pet peeves with the TS2. It just looked a little bit, sort of square off towards the toe, so they've rounded that off. And these refinements in the shaping not only make them look better, but has reduced that drag to give you more club head speed. Now, the next piece of the puzzle is trying to give you more forgiveness, and Titleist say that you can expect 13% higher MOI with TSi 2 and 10% higher MOI with TSi 3. Now, what that will mean is greater forgiveness, just retaining ball speed, good spin rates on your miss hits, bringing those wild drives a little bit closer in, making your ones that aren't really, your best drives still go out there a long way, still get the most out of these drivers, even when you're not catching it quite out the middle. So how have they been able to adjust that MOI? How have they been able to increase that? Well, it's refinements in the shaping and some subtle refinements in the design as well. With the TSi 2, this is the high launching, easy to hit option. You can see we've got this stationary weight here in the back section. That pulls a lot of weight low and back in this club head. It will just launch the thing into the sky, no problem whatsoever. It will keep the spin rates nice and low, thanks to where the CG is placed. So, just giving you that recipe for maximum distance, but also great levels of forgiveness and an easy launch. With the TSi 3, one thing you'll notice probably immediately as well after you've had a look at that face is that the SureFit CG cartridge is gone. Instead, we have this back bar here. Now, this is made from a very lightweight material. I think it's a polymer carbon, and once you take this off, you'll just feel how lightweight it is. And that allows this weight here to be adjusted. So we have neutral setting, heel 1 and heel 2, toe 1 and toe 2. So that allows you to put the CG where you want it in this golf club to, really give you maximum performance. Give you a little bit more weight in behind the toe section if you strike it more out towards the toe, a little bit more into the heel, and also give you some shot shape correction. I think that's a good change for me personally. It's a little bit more intuitive as to what this SureFit technology is doing as opposed to the cartridge that you inserted in the club head. And it also has the benefit of pulling weight from that kind of middle section of the golf club a little bit further back, and that's why they've been able to increase the MOI by about 10% with TSi3, but also really get those launch conditions bang on. Nice high launch, nice low spin to give you maximum distance. Now, to go along with all these changes, we still have the SureFit hosel giving you 16 individual settings, so that's fantastic again for dialing in your ball flight. The fact that this new SureFit technology towards the rear has 5 settings as opposed to the 3 that it's replacing just means, yeah, you can dial in this driver that little bit more. And then with the TSi2, we have that stationary back weight, but we can adjust during the fittings. You can adjust the weight of that back weight there and just allow you to get this driver set up exactly where you want. So plenty of room for adjustability with the two of these. We've got 2 models here, and it's worth pointing out that there will be a TSi1 and TSi4 driver coming in 2021. Not quite sure when yet, but it's worth keeping those in mind. If you're a TS1 player or a TS4 player, they might want to wait until the new year comes around and those drivers are released to really find out which one's best for you. But as you'll soon see from the numbers, I think these will be a perfect fit for just about any golfer. So I went through a full custom fitting session here with Graham. We settled on a shaft and a setup that I liked, and then we decided to compare both the TSi2 and the TSi3 just to find out which one would be best for my game, and also to give you a good idea of the differences between these two and maybe figure out which one will be best for you. Now, it will come as no surprise to see, once we bring up those numbers, that the TSi2 was a bit higher launching and a bit higher spinning than its TSi3 counterpart. It's what it's supposed to do. It will be probably the best fit for most of you out there. The easiest to hit, the highest launching, very user friendly, very forgiving, but also very powerful and long, as you'll see from those ball speed numbers at 161.1 with the club head speed at 108.8. Average carry of 266.7 for an average total of 281.5. So really solid numbers with the TSi2. But the TSi3, no surprise, it's the one on paper that would suit me a little bit better, and it's just giving me that little bit extra. It's getting a wee bit more club head speed with it. Maybe that's just a bit of confidence with this thing. The ball speed jumps up again, just a wee bit more club head speed, wee bit more ball speed, so 163.7, absolutely phenomenal ball speed. Launching at 12.7, spin 2678 for an average carry of 275, average total 295. Absolutely solid numbers across the board. But it wasn't the ball speed, it wasn't the launch, it wasn't the spin, it wasn't the distance that was really impressing me with these things. It was the consistency. And I think that's what Titleist are really trying to get across. The improvements with the CG placement and the MOI and this new ATI 425 face means that when you're not quite catching this thing out the middle, it's so consistent. You can see, that my launch angle plus or minus 0.9 degrees, the spin rate plus or minus 266. Now, there was a couple of really heely spinny shots in those ones that I was hitting with the TSi3. Really stable. Ball speed, again, some miss hits, some low off the face, plus or minus 0.9 on the ball speed. And the TSi2, very similar story. The consistency of ball speeds, launch, spin, carry distances total, it was all so consistent, and that's what's impressed me most with these drivers when it comes to performance. When you're not quite catching them out in the middle, they're really offering so much. Now let's compare that with the TS3. Now, a really good driver from Titleist, something I enjoyed using for a while. You can see that it's just not giving me quite as much. The ball speed's dropped down a wee bit, launch angle's decent, the spin rate's quite high, and that has an impact on the carry and total distances. Now that's because when I was having a wee bit of trouble with sort of heely miss hits today, really getting that spin creeping up, and this just wasn't able to give me that consistent spin, whereas the TSi models really were, and that's really the impressive thing. As I said, being able to be so consistent on the miss hits, very good. When I catch all 3 out the middle, they all go fairly similar distances, but the TS3 just wasn't as consistent at producing good launch conditions, ball speed and spin, and that resulted in an average carry that's it's not in the same ballpark as the TSi3. So really impressive numbers there. In terms of other things I like, it's just, for me, the TSi 3 down behind the ball, it looks fantastic. Looks like a proper classic Titleist driver. I like the fact we've got a wee bit more fine tuning with this sure fit system towards the back, these adjustable weights. It's just a little bit more intuitive as well, which I think some of you will like. It sounds and feels fantastic. Sounds and feels like a driver should. Low, crunchy, just feels so nice down at impact. With the TSi 2, I love the fact they've got that refined shaping, that rounding off the toe section compared with the TS2. It just looks a little bit more classic down at address, looks a little bit more appealing. And yeah, also sounds a little bit louder, not in a bad way, just sounds a little bit louder, maybe a touch more powerful off the face. And yeah, I was surprised at how high it was launching. That's what this thing's designed to do. It's designed to get your golf ball up in the air, carrying a long way, and it's an absolute piece of cake to hit. So, you know, all round, absolutely fantastic drivers we have here from Titleist. Very impressed with what's on offer. But we don't just have new drivers, we also have new fairway woods. Here they are, the TSi 2 and the TSi 3. Now the differences between these two are pretty much the exact same as the drivers. This TSi 2, the higher launching, slightly easier to hit option, a little bit more forgiving. You know, if you want to see your 3 wood just soaring into the sky, really good for attacking par 5s from long distance, great off the tee. And then the TSi 3 giving a slightly more penetrating trajectory, maybe a little bit more workable. So the differences when compared with the drivers, you know, the exact same pretty much. We have some new tech. We've got the ARC 4.0 channel, so fourth iteration of this technology. Titleist saying it's a bit shorter, so should deliver more ball speed, especially on those miss hits low off the face. With the TSi 3, you can see we have this new adjustability system with neutral, heel and toe, so just allowing you again to dial this 3 wood in a wee bit. We've got the sure fit hosels, and they say it's just going to offer a little bit more than the predecessors, you know, a little bit more distance, a little bit more ball speed, a little bit more forgiveness, and a slightly refined look and shape to them. You know, they look like Titleist fairways, they look classic, they look so smart, they look really cool. And yeah, when I was hitting them, just Titleist have always made great fairway woods, in my opinion, and the TSi 3 was the one for me. Just felt so easy to pick up off the turf, great off the tee. I like the fact that the score lines have been blacked out in this middle section. I think that just helps to frame the ball a little bit better. And yeah, just two really fantastic fairway woods that really match up nicely with the drivers, you know, perform really well, and yeah, just live up to the billing of a Titleist fairway wood. We know how good, or I know how good they've been in the past, and yeah, just, you know, fantastic compliments to the drivers. Lastly, I'll quickly touch on the shafts we have on offer. Now, I get fitted into this TSi White and a 65 gram X-Flex. There are 4 featured shafts to choose from, so plenty of options there for your fitters to get you dialed in. And some of the lighter weight options, we also have SFW technology, straight flight weighting. Something we've seen before from Titleist, just help those of you who really struggle missing it to the right, get that club head turning over at impact, hopefully find some more fairways, you know, keep that slice under control. But as well as those 4 options, we also have 3 graphite design options as part of a premium featured shaft lineup. So they come with a bit of an upcharge. It's an option there for you. If it's something you fancy, they'll be available at fittings. But with those 4 options, you know, there's plenty to choose from. So I think most of you will go into the 4 featured shafts on offer. So there's quite a lot to unpack in this video, but hopefully it's given you a good insight into what's on offer with the TSi lineup. My first impressions are that I'm absolutely loving the classic sound, look and feel of this TSi 3, and then the performance, it's just backing on what Titleist are claiming. For me, it was the consistency of that ball speed and the launch conditions were just giving me fantastic carry and distance numbers. So looking forward to doing some more testing on this thing, seeing how it stacks up against 2020's other big guns. We'll have that video for you, but I think it'll do pretty well going by my first impressions today. Now, if you have any questions about any of the TSi products, anything I've touched on today, then just leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you. Do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you've enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and thank you very much for watching.